What's going on, everybody? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at an awesome high-performance Android tablet known as the Lenovo Legion Y700. Now this is one I've actually been wanting to get my hands on for a little while, and they do offer a couple different storage variants of this unit. The one I have here has 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, but when it comes to that CPU, this little tablet is rocking a Snapdragon 870. Now with the Gen 1 out, it might not sound like a lot, but when it comes to these smaller tablets, this is a little powerhouse. So I spent the past few days with the Y700 and I'm really enjoying the experience here. I mean, we've got plenty of power to run our favorite apps, but this is really focused on gaming. And of course, with the gaming tablet, we're definitely going to be testing out some emulation. But first up, let's take a look at what it came with. Now this does have a 50-watt charger in the box. It supports 45-watt quick charging, and we've got a 6,550 milliamp hour battery, which does offer all-day battery life. The unit that I picked up did come with this clear silicone case, but I'm not exactly sure if everyone is going to come with this. We also got a screen protector in the box. So there are a few things I look for when I'm looking for a gaming phone or a gaming tablet, and one of them is video over USB Type-C, and this tablet does support it, so we can easily connect this to a larger display. This actually has a PC mode built in, which is really awesome. We've also got dual stereo speakers tuned by JBL and a 3.5mm audio jack. And when it comes to the specs, for the CPU, we've got that Snapdragon 870, great octa-core CPU. We've got a big prime core up to 3.2 gigahertz. This does really great with emulation, and if you're into Android, you know exactly what chip this is. For the GPU, it's using the Adreno 650. You can pick this up in two different variants, one with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage, or 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, but both do support a micro SD card. I think the size on this display is perfect for a little gaming tablet. It's a 120Hz 8.8-inch IPS at 1600 by 2560 with 500 nits of brightness. I mean, it looks absolutely beautiful. Dual stereo speakers, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, a 6,550 milliamp hour battery with 45-watt quick charging capabilities, and you can charge this from 0 to 100 in about 45 minutes. So yeah, I mean, you can get up and go real quick with this thing. And when it comes to the operating system, this is running Android 11 with ZUI 13. Android 12 is on the way for this tablet though. Overall performance is outstanding, and I expected it to be with that Snapdragon 870. We've also got plenty of RAM. This is the 12 gigabyte version, but even if you opted for the 8, you've got more than enough for a tablet like this. And with Wi-Fi 6 built in, streaming video, loading up web pages, or downloading new games is really snappy. This also has a PC mode built in, which basically transforms it into an Android desktop PC. But I gotta say, one of my favorite features on this tablet is the Legion realm, and since this is dedicated to gaming, this little section here has all of our games and emulators that I've downloaded so far. And if we swipe down from the top, we've got a lot of tools here. So we can actually go to beast mode, we can go to power saving mode, or balanced. And what this is going to do is ensure that the CPU clock and the GPU clock is up there. Personally, I like going to beast mode here. It's going to offer better performance overall. And there's also a little GPU suite built in. Once we start up a game, I'll show you that. But we've got our FPS on screen at all times if you want it up there. We've also got the CPU temperature, battery life, and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, these gaming features that are built into this tablet really help out with mobile gaming and emulation. One thing I always like to take a look at is the Widevine level, and we're level 1 here, so we can get HD content from Netflix, Hulu, HBO. And nowadays, we don't need it for YouTube, but I did want to show off a little bit of YouTube video playback. This is an HDR display, so if I head over here to a 4K 60 HDR video, it'll switch right over for us. Stats for Nerds is on, and I'll just show you that we are at 4K 60 HDR here from the Advanced section. We'll go ahead and play. And I love this speaker placement, so while you're gaming on this, the speakers are actually towards the top on each side, so your palm doesn't block them off like some other phones and tablets on the market. And this thing gets really loud. It also has some bass. I mean, those dual stereo speakers tuned by JBL on this thing sound really good. Not as good as something like the iPad Pro, but it's getting really close, and we're working with a smaller form factor here. When it comes to benchmarks, for Geekbench 5, we get a single core of 971, multi 3139. 3D Mark Wildlife, which is a Vulkan benchmark for the GPU, we got a 4210, not bad at all. And finally, Antutu, with a 721,374. And if you take a look down the list here, our GPU score is around 237,000. So not quite 888 or Gen 1 levels, but for a tablet, this is really great performance. Okay, so moving over to some gaming, here's Genshin Impact, and I've just started this up from Legion Realm. So if we swipe down from the top here, we can set our mode up. You can go to energy saving mode, but with a game like this that is a bit hard to run on an Android device, you'll probably want to put this in beast mode because it's going to up that CPU clock. So as soon as I go to beast mode, we went from 0.84 gigahertz to 2.7. We've also got some GPU optimizations that can be done from the settings up here. So if we move over here, we can open up our GPU panel and we can set it up as default, balanced, high quality, or custom. And with some games, we can actually limit the frame rate or turn it all the way up to 120. But unfortunately, Genshin Impact isn't affected by this. On Android, it's only 30 or 60, so we're running at 60. But we're in beast mode, high settings, and the game runs absolutely amazing on this little chip. And you know, in the past, I've tested the Snapdragon 870 on different devices, specifically the Poco F3. This game did run pretty well, but on this tablet, it does run much better due to the optimizations we have with, the Legion Realm, the GPU tweaks that we can do, and putting it up into beast mode. But yeah, I mean, if we're running Genshin Impact here at 60 FPS, high settings, then we're not going to have much of an issue running any of the other Android games from the market, but I did want to show a few extras off. I know it's not a super hard game to run, but Minecraft from Google Play does 120 FPS, and we're really close here. I'm at 15 chunks, and turning it down to about 10 and putting it in beast mode will get you that constant 120, but anything over 60 on a tablet with this game is still really playable. I've got one more here, and that's just going to be Asphalt 9. We're maxed out, running at 60, and this has been on the market for a while. I knew it was going to run at full speed. So playing these games on the built-in screen is great, and right now we're kind of in phone mode or tablet mode, but if we turn on PC mode, this is going to give us a more desktop PC experience on the tablet screen, or we can connect this to a larger display, and then from there you can connect a keyboard and mouse and a controller and have a nice little PC setup with this tablet. And this is what it looks like. So as soon as you plug it in, it's going to ask you if you want to extend the display, mirror the screen, or go into PC mode. So I'm in PC mode right now. I've just plugged into a USB Type-C to HDMI adapter. I've also got a wireless keyboard and mouse connected. We can have multiple apps open, and we can use the tablet like it is right now, plus the external monitor in PC mode. We can change the audio output, and if you're familiar with Samsung DeX, this is basically the same thing. We've just turned this Android tablet into an Android-based desktop PC. And yeah, you can do full screen apps. Here we have PSP using PPSSPP, 4x resolution. It'll even run Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta at full speed, 3x. There is one downside to using this tablet in PC mode, and really it just comes down to not being able to use Legion Realm, so we can't adjust those GPU parameters or CPU. But if you want to mirror the display, you can still access that no problem. I definitely wanted to take a look at some more emulation, and first up we've got the Dolphin emulator for Gamecube. I'm using the OpenGL backend here with the Simpsons Hit and Run, and it actually works really well on the Snapdragon 870. Again, in beast mode with all of these tests. And since the Dolphin emulator also emulates Wii games, I figured I'd test a couple out. Here's Sonic Colors. This is one of those games that natively runs at 30 FPS on the Wii. And with this, I just swapped over to the Vulkan backend. I was getting very similar performance between OpenGL and Vulkan, but I did notice with that hit and run game, OpenGL was just a bit more stable. And the final one I tested here was Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. I just kept it with that Vulkan backend. We're at the native resolution, and yeah, GameCube and Wii are playable on this setup. Now I'm sure you will run into some harder to run games with GameCube and Wii that just won't perform as well, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to run at full speed. Here's some PS2 emulation using EtherSX2. We've got God of War 2 at 2x resolution using the OpenGL backend. And I went in this at 3x and performance was really good, but once I started getting a lot of particles and effects on screen, it did dip down a bit. So 2x is kind of the sweet spot for this one. But with Gran Turismo 4, I was able to take this up to 3x, and in the rally stages, we can go up to 4x. So as you can see, I did keep the OpenGL back in with this one, and I was kind of hoping to get away with all of these games on OpenGL. But with the last one I tested, which is Soul Calibur 3, I did have to go down to 1x and use the Vulkan back in. This is one of those games that gives me trouble on certain systems, and the Snapdragon 870 seems to be one of those systems. So overall, I'm a huge fan of this tablet. It really comes down to the form factor and performance. Of course, there are more powerful tablets on the market, like the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8. It's got that Gen 1 CPU, which does knock this out of the park, but the smallest screen we can get that with is an 11-inch screen, and I really do think that's a little too big for on-the-go gaming on a tablet. This 8.8-inch screen seems perfect. I mean, it looks great here. I know it's only IPS, but the colors definitely pop. It does support HDR. And we've got 500 nits of brightness. I mean, I love the form factor of this thing. It definitely fits right in the hand. And like I mentioned, while you're holding it, you're not blocking those speakers off. And that's a problem I always run into with like gaming phones. My palms always block those off while I'm gaming on those devices, but these are kind of near the top, so you can get full sound out of this thing. And these dual stereo speakers tuned by JBL sound amazing. So first impressions here, loving this thing so far. I do have one more video planned with the Y700. I want to mess around with this for the next couple days, so if there's anything else you want to see running in that video, definitely let me know in the comments below. And I'd also like to know your thoughts on the form factor of this device. Would you rather have a bigger screen tablet, or is this 8.8-inch kind of perfect for handheld gaming? Let me know down below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you're interested in learning more, I will leave a couple links in the description. And like always, thanks for watching.